My friends, welcome back to the channel where we always show you the best real estate and the best living in Alanya, like we say, dream life. Today we will do a little bit different. We always get a lot of questions from you, and today we will answer all your questions about living here, about Alanya, about how I live here like a European. For this I brought my business partner Rustam. He will read all the questions that you send us, and I will try to answer as good as I can. So Rustam, welcome also to the channel. This is my business partner Rustam, as I told you. So we will answer all the questions that you send us. Rustam, you're in charge of media, and you see all these questions coming by. So you ask me the questions, I will try to answer as good as I can. But of course, we not will only answer questions and sit and speak with you. We also show you this beautiful view of Alanya in a little restaurant that we just found. So, as always, like you're used to, beautiful places, beautiful people. Let's go.
So Jack, have you ever thought about the possibility to live here in Turkey permanently?
To be honest, no. I never thought that I would live here permanently. Until I live here 2 years now. And until about 3 years ago, I would have never thought to live here.
By the way, where are you from?
I'm from Holland myself, but for my work I traveled around the globe a lot. I've seen a lot of different places, but Alanya is the first place that I really fell in love with straight away from the first minute that we came here. We came here through some relatives. They were on holiday here. We spent a good time here, and we immediately fell in love here.
How exactly did you get in Alanya? Have you chosen among other cities in Turkey?
I have visited some other cities in Turkey, for example Kaş, Turkiye. The difference between those cities and Alanya is that, first of all, Alanya is a lot bigger. There's a lot more choice here in real estate, in things to do. The other thing is that a lot of cities here are more cities for tourism. This means that in winter they're basically dead. So I wanted to live in a city which is alive all year round, which has all facilities, but without the big industry, without the big airport close by, without the airplanes flying over your head. Alanya, in this case, is the best solution. The ecology is perfect here. There is no big industry. The closest airport is 2 hours away, which, by the way, when I lived in Holland, I also had to travel 2 hours to the airport. So for me that makes absolutely no difference.
And you probably didn't count Gazipaşa airport.
Gazipaşa airport is even closer. Yes, it's even closer. It's about a half hour away from here. That doesn't have all the flights like in Antalya, but it's very good possible to fly to Amsterdam, Berlin, Düsseldorf through Gazipaşa airport.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
So Jack, speaking of winter, what is it winter like here? Is it a dead place here? No tourists, closed restaurants, no entertainment, nothing? Or it's...
No, another thing which made me choose Alanya is the fact that in the winter it's basically the same as in the summer. All restaurants are working, all shops are working. There are a lot of people in the restaurant areas, cafe areas, shops, because the difference between Alanya and, for example, Kemer, which is very tourist, a lot of people live here all year round. A lot of people from Germany, Holland, Norway, England, for example, live here all year round. This means those people enjoy all facilities that Alanya has to offer all year round. So you will always meet people here. Even last New Year we were sitting in a restaurant which was absolutely filled to the brim with people. You don't see that in, for example, Kemer or Kaş, because those places are more for tourists, and that means in the winter a lot of things are closed. You cannot enjoy the facilities. Here, all winter around, you can enjoy all facilities.
What about prices while winter? In restaurants, in boutiques, everywhere?
So, yeah, there is a little difference. For example, in the most tourist areas of Alanya, for example, Cleopatra Beach, of course, in the summer you will pay a little bit more than in the winter. But speaking about the prices, they're already so low, they cannot make them any more low in the winter. I mean, these people have to eat too, yes?
What about weather? Is it winter severe here or it's mild?
Another good thing, I speak only positive today. Another good thing about Alanya is that you can choose. We have the sea very close, we have the mountains very close. So if you in the winter, for example, if you want to go skiing, there's a ski resort about 1.5 hours away from Alanya. While in Alanya you will still have about 18 degrees outside temperature in the winter.
Yeah.
Sea temperature in the winter will not go below 20 or 18 degrees. That means...
I heard you even swim while winter.
Of course, being from Holland, we have a tradition that on 1st of January you must swim in the ocean. So, of course, in Holland that is a big deal. But here it's easy because the sea is, like I said, 18 degrees. It's like a warm bath. Absolutely no problem. Another good thing is, for example, when we traveled close to Alanya in January, we met snow in the mountains. So in the evening we were playing with snow.
Yeah.
Yes. The next morning we swam in the ocean. So you can choose. You have a lot of possibilities here, even in the winter.
Exactly. So Jack, what is the lowest temperature you met here? How people dressed here?
Lowest temperature, and that's a trick question because, like I told, you have choice. If you want snow and sub-zero temperatures, you can choose to go to the mountains. Like I said, about 1 hour drive, you will stay until your knees in the snow. So the lowest temperature I met here was below zero, of course. But speaking about Alanya, lowest temperature in the winter will be around 15 degrees, which is absolutely no problem because Alanya is orientated south. That means we have 300 days of sun every year. So the sun always warms you. Not only you, the sun also warms your house, your apartment, your villa. This means you rarely need any heating. Maybe in the evening in January when it will get a little bit below 20 degrees inside your house, you switch on your air conditioning to heating about 30 minutes and it will be comfortable. This also means we don't have gas. We heat only electric. It's even funny, we pay more communal costs in the summer than in the winter, because in the summer of course you will need some air conditioning if you want to sit comfortable, but in the winter 30 minutes heating and the house will be comfortable.
Yeah. And you can always dress warmer.
You can always wear a big sweater, of course, but we choose not to.
Yeah, of course. So Jack, as a European citizen, can you tell me where is the difference between living here and in Europe? Is this difference crucial for you, for example?
Yes and no. If we speak about quality of products, quality of life, of course the quality standards in Europe are very high. But you in Alanya in Turkey, you have basically the same quality of products, and this combined with the Mediterranean lifestyle that you have, for me of course it's more pleasant to live here. About other differences, I meet so many European people here also, so basically if I walk in the city here or I walk in the city of Amsterdam, I will meet the same people. I will meet people who speak English. I will have good service. I will have good food. The only difference basically is that here I'm very close to a warm sea and very close to beautiful mountains, which of course in Holland we don't have mountains. So this for me is a very big plus.
Yeah, but speaking of differences, I mean, maybe here's difference between medical service, insurances, prices for all this.
For people who come from Holland or basically from the north of Europe, So that means Holland, Germany, Norway, Denmark, England. There is no big difference in medical services, for example, because your Dutch or German insurance will work here in Turkey also. The system is a little bit different. So in Turkey you have state clinics, hospitals, and you have private clinics. So your European insurance will cover you when you go to the state clinics. If you choose to have something a little bit more luxury, for example, a room for you alone, something more close to you where you live, you can choose to go to a private clinic. But of course, this will cost you
on your own
a little bit more. Yes, but compared to the prices in Europe, of course, it's still very cheap. And the quality of service in hospitals and the quality of the doctors and the care that you get basically is the same. Most people who work here in the hospitals, which I met, they studied in Germany or in Holland or in England, so the quality of service is basically the same.
Service the same, but I heard that in Europe dental service is very, very expensive.
Dental service, for example, is very expensive.
But
also,
here?
Yes, no, here it's of course a lot more cheap, and you can say about half of the price. And people always ask me, yeah, but the quality of service, and will the quality be exactly the same as in Holland and stuff like that. The quality of the products that they use, because all the products that they use, for example, if you want to have a new tooth, zirconie, it's the same product which they use in Holland, because it comes from Europe. They import it from Europe. The price of labor is a lot more cheap, and that's why the prices are lower here than in Europe.
Because you know, you can correct me, but sometimes I heard that we have even like dental tourism here.
Yes,
that people from Europe coming here for new tooth.
Yeah, that happens a lot, and even you can even choose to do that partly from your European insurance. So a lot of people, it's well known that people come here for dental service or to have other operations done, small things. Yes, that's a good choice. I mean, like I said, quality of work, quality of products is exactly the same as in Europe, but for a much lower price because of the labor costs.
So, and qualification, of course, of doctors?
Qualification of doctors is basically the same because most of them studied in Europe. You have, of course, a lot of Turkish doctors who went to European universities, especially Germany, Holland, and England. Yes.
So, as I believe, when you came here for the first time and started to live, everything were advantage for you, like sea, fruits, prices, everything. So, but little by little living here, it became probably a part of your usual life, like routine. So, right now, what is it interesting for you here? Did you find friends here or some interesting connections?
Yes, of course, it starts to be more normal, but to be honest, I never get tired of looking at the beautiful sea or the mountains here. It's I mean, and even if you get tired of this, I mean, wouldn't it be great to have a usual rhythm here? That's of course a lot better than in some place where it's not so beautiful as here. About people, about interesting things, of course my work brings me a lot of interesting people, a lot of advantages. I meet a lot of people, connections. So I meet a lot of people through my work, and because we don't only sell real estate and that's it, we also do after-sales service. That means we help people with all questions that they have. Where's the closest pharmacist, for example? How do I get a taxi here? People call me every day with different questions, and a lot of my former customers became good friends because of the amount of time that I spent with them and communicated with them. Another thing, of course, people are always in a good mood here, and you meet a lot of people in for example, cafes, restaurants, and well, popular places in Alanya. And these are people from a lot of different countries, which for me is interesting. So we also met a lot of friends here from Germany, from Norway, from England, with who we are very close. Even our Turkish neighbors, we have very good relationships with them. We have very good Turkish friends, and it's basically one big melting pot here of nice, friendly people.
Jack, the most popular question from people who want to move here, cost of living. And exactly in your situation, we would like to know how much do you spend monthly for utilities, for clothing, for general living here?
Okay, for this I will first explain how I live here. So I have a two-story apartment, 2 bedrooms, which is about 150 square meters. So just for reference, that is how I live. Okay, cost of living. So I live in a complex, an apartment complex, which has a swimming pool, a sauna, hammam. Of course, we have elevators, we have beautiful gardens, so all of this costs money, of course. So I pay for this like communal costs, 45 euros a month. With this, I can of course use all facilities that our complex have to offer. And included is also a parking space below our complex.
And facilities included hammam, like
hammam, sport rooms. We have a communal barbecue area. We have inside swimming pool, outside swimming pool, beautiful garden. Basically everything that you would.
Lots of facilities for 45 euros.
Lots of facilities for 45 euros a month. This of course also includes the costs of lights around the complex, electric which is needed for the elevators, the service which is needed for the elevators, and all stuff like that.
Surveillance system,
surveillance
security.
camera. We have 24-hour security, so that's also included in this price. Basically everything to keep you comfortable and safe.
Oh, very good price.
So the second part, of course, is electric, water,
utilities,
and
generally
internet. Yes. So we don't have gas, which is a very big plus. We don't need it because it never gets cold here, like we discussed before. For electric, water, and internet, I pay around 50 euros a month. Which is of course also a little bit because I work, so in the daytime I don't use any electric or I don't use the air conditioning or stuff like that.
And let me guess, while night you're sleeping.
And
you
while
don't need
night,
anything.
Normally I would be
just
sleeping.
a couple hours.
Yes. So basically you can say for 100 euros a month I have all my utilities and all facilities of the complex covered. Then of course you have groceries and stuff like that.
Of course here it depends of people. Somebody accustomed to spend a lot of money for, but in your situation?
Well, I go out to eat about 3 times in a week. Usually if we go to a restaurant, me and my wife for example, we will spend about 50 euros in an evening. This includes some soft drinks, soup and a main course, for example. I mean, in Europe you will pay easily 200 euros for that, so that's really cheap. We do that around 3 times a week, so yeah, I think about 400 or 500 euros for restaurant cost. But like I said, we eat out a lot. It depends on what you want. Groceries, I think about 250 euros a month, something like this, because products here are, first of all, they are really cheap. Second of all, most vegetables, fruits are local, which means they are fresh, and also means that they are cheap because there's no price for transport and all things like that. Well, so the cost of living, it's compared to Europe, it's maybe 1/4 of the price.
So generally, how much money on month? Let's repeat it.
I think all costs of living will, for me and my wife, will be around 1,000 euro in a month.
So, and if we compare your life in Europe,
Oh, yeah.
did it cost more or
Yes,
probably the same?
It cost a lot of more. I think for example, if you have a rent or a mortgage, you will pay, well, I think in Holland about 800-900 euros a month for sure, only for your mortgage or your rent. Of course, if you look at the prices of the real estate here, it's a lot cheaper. The quality is the same, but you pay so much less money for a good quality apartment or house. So that's a really big difference. Second of all, of course, we all know that the prices for electric, gas in Europe now, they go through the roof, and basically nobody knows where it will end. So it's a really big advantage that we don't need that here.
So, Jack, while you live here, did you see difference between attitude of Turkish people to tourists and people who decided to stay here for permanent living? So, did you see that their attitude to you became different? Maybe they stopped to like you, like, you know, we don't want you here.
I'm a very likable guy. So no, to be honest, no, I don't feel any difference.
Because, you know, for example, I was in France, in Italy, and while you're tourists, everybody like you. When you're spending money for, you know, souvenirs, for everything, yeah, while people getting advantage from you, all like you. But when you decided, oh, so good people, I want to live here. So since then, immediately people's attitude to you changes. So here.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I don't feel that here because it's embedded also in the Turkish culture to always treat people nicely and with respect. So always, if you come to a shop, for example, or you come to a restaurant, people never treat you like a customer, they treat you like a guest. It's even very rude if you, for example, come to a shop to immediately start speak about some deals, about some business. No, they first, they will be offended. So you first must get to know each other. They will ask you, yeah, how are you?
Would you
how
like
are
some
you today?
drinks?
Would you like some drinks? Blah blah blah. And sometimes even if you're in a hurry, it can be. This will cost a little bit of time, but for me, it's a very big pleasure.
And you know, most important, that you feel they are sincere.
Yes,
Not just because you want to buy something.
Because also, of course, living here and seeing everything happening, I also see that it's not just because I am not a Turkish person or a tourist. I see them do exactly the same with my Turkish neighbors, for example. So this means it's basically there is absolutely no difference between tourists or people who live here continuously. Also, of course, in Alanya, a lot of people live here all year around. So basically, you cannot see the difference. You cannot know the difference. If you go to more touristic places, yes, sometimes you can feel it. All people know the stories about the big hotels, and you go outside of the hotels and people start harassing you, please buy from me something and stuff like that. You absolutely don't have that in Alanya. Even so, there is a law against that in Alanya. So if you get harassed or if somebody treats you disrespectful, it's even against the law. But to be honest, I have never encountered such behavior here in Alanya. It's very good, and it's always a pleasure doing business here, even buying small things, because you get treated with respect. You get treated like a guest. You always get a nice tea or a nice glass of water. So no, it's all very pleasant.
But when you mentioned about being in some shops, We all know that Turkish people like very much to bargain about everything. So, and even if you buy something for the whole price, they feel kind of offense and uncomfortable that you didn't bargain with them. So, did you get this art of bargaining, or you buying for the whole price everything?
It's very funny because yes, I master this now. I even bargain in the pharmacy shops, for example, fixed prices, and you stay at the.
In Europe, it's possible.
No, it's impossible. No. Price is a price. But here, you buy, for example, toothpaste and some pills. The price will be 200 liras. You will say, okay, 180, and it's normal. They even expect you to do this. The prices are also based on this. Of course, for me being a European, not used to it, sometimes it feels strange because the prices are already so low here that you don't feel comfortable to even take some more of this price. And to be honest, it wouldn't even be needed because it's already so low.
It's already low.
But
what kind of cheap person you are that you're bargaining such a small price?
That you bargain such a small price. But even if you don't do it,
no, you're kind of offending them.
Yeah, they will be very surprised. They will say, "What kind of millionaire is that who doesn't even bargain prices here?" So yes, it's common, and basically you must do it. But of course, we do it until not until the last lira. Yes, it's no, we don't need it. Everybody has to eat. My opinion is always that I like to support local businesses. So we try to buy local, we try to buy good quality products for good prices. And if the price is good, the service is good, then I won't be bargaining a lot. But of course, I always will.
Now. So, not so long ago, I heard you was in Holland and you brought a new car here, Mercedes convertible.
Yes.
So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. So, and connecting with this, some questions. What about insurance for car here?
Okay, so first of all, I will explain a little bit why I take a car from Holland to Turkey. We all know, and we already discussed, that prices in Turkey are very low and very favorable.
But not for everything.
Unfortunately, not for everything. There are basically two things which in Turkey are a little bit more expensive even than in Europe. That is cars and electronics. For example, telephones, televisions, and of course cars. But for European citizens, it's very easy to buy a car, for example, in Holland or in Germany or whichever country you're from, and drive it to here. I can speak from experience now that it's a very nice drive. We made a real little holiday from it.
How long did it take?
We drove, but I drove like a tourist, about 4 days from Holland. But you can do it in 3 days if you just want to get to the location.
Like a Mad Max.
Yes,
Yeah,
but we all know I like
Road of
places. I like nice restaurants and hotels, so I stopped a lot. So 4 days it took me. So the price in Holland for the car that I bought was more cheap than here in Turkey, so that was one plus. The other thing is there is basically nothing to stop you from driving your European car here. You can use your European insurance, you can use your European driver's license. There's absolutely no problem with people stopping you because they see a different number plate. It works even the other way. Most of the time, if they see a European number plate, they will just let you drive by because for them they already know that it's a tourist and they won't bother you. So your European insurance for your car will work here. You can also choose to have the Turkish insurance. If you, for example, leave it here always, you can just take a Turkish insurance, which will be more cheap than the European insurance, of course.
By the way, for how long can you drive your car here?
A foreign car, that it's not only European but all foreign countries, so not Turkish cars, you can drive in Turkey for 2 years.
2 years.
So after 2 years you must take it out from the country for 6 months. After 6 months you can bring it back for another 2 years. But to be honest, after 2 years driving a car, maybe you would want something else and
probably
buy something else. Yes, so that's absolutely no problem. So yeah, it's a really good thing. Another very big plus about having a car here is that the gasoline or diesel or 95 is of course much cheaper than it is in Europe.
And driving here, comparing with Europe, is it different or the same? What about Turkish driving style?
Depends a little bit of where you're from, of course. If you drive in Berlin or Amsterdam center, you're used to hectic, yes. If you're from a small town, you may be not used to the style of driving here. It can be very relaxed, but it can also be unexpected. So you have to get used to it, of course. To be honest, I see very little accidents or like aggression in the traffic. Even less than I saw in big cities in Europe. I mean, if you go, I don't know if you ever took your car to Paris center or to London in the center, you will, I think you will drive a lot more relaxed here. And again, it comes with the Southern European and lifestyle. Everybody is relaxed. Even if you have some problems, even if you make some accidents, everybody will be just relaxed and cool, and there will be no big problems. No.
In spite of no Turkish temper.
Of course, they have a temper. So one thing you have to get used to is using the horn. Yes, they will use the horn, but in North Europe, if people use the horn, you will feel offended. But here it's normal. They don't mean to offend you. They just say, "Hey, I'm here. Please know that I'm here." Yes, it's just a different style of driving than that we're used to, but absolutely no aggression, absolutely no craziness. I mean, I drive here, I feel very safe, I feel very comfortable, and as always, relax.
So it's very cool.
So Rustam, I think that was it for today. Yes, because if we get some more personal questions, we will have to change our drinks, you know. People, I hope that you liked it. I hope we revealed a little bit of what it's like living in Alanya in Turkey. Of course, if you have any more questions, doesn't matter which ones, just leave a comment and we will try to answer you anyway. Oh, by the way, while you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video if you liked it, of course. And we will see you in the next video. Don't forget, everybody can live this life. It's dream life.